Here we go. Welcome back to JB Reviews. We have a 2023 Ford F450. This truck came available. Guy that actually ordered it backed out. So if you are in the market, you better reach out to Tim in the commercial department. I'll put his information here. Ken is the other guy. Let's go ahead and step up to the truck so you guys can see what happened. I did show it in the last video, but this one does have the power deployable running boards, smart key system, and this one does have max recline, which I will probably show you at some point in this video because I didn't really do a good demonstration in the last one. But be sure to subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'm at Larry H. Miller Super Ford here in Salt Lake City. Remember, Super Ford in Salt Lake City. Special shout out to these guys. They've been very helpful. And if you are in the market, I find that this dealership gets most of the trucks that they order. My favorite interior, saddle. Yeah, this is the cowboy's dream right here. This truck has push button start, has power, just about everything. If you didn't watch my last video I did on this truck, even on the back of the tailgate, it has sensors, like for like the sonar sensors, and a backup camera. So in the event you forget to put your tailgate up, you can still see from the back, and you won't damage the tailgate by running into the back of your trailer or wherever you are. So let's go ahead and get down the road. I'm gonna reset the fuel mileage. This truck does have a 48-gallon fuel tank, which is very handy. Standard. Ram doesn't do that. Chevy and GMC don't do that. Ram does give you an optional 50-gallon, but you have to get a long bed, which you would expect. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and reset the fuel economy, and let's see if we can do a 0 to 60. So here is the brand new high output Power Stroke. 500 horsepower, 1,200 pound-feet of torque. They lowered compression in this engine. It still has a 10-speed transmission behind it, and this truck does have the 430 rear axle standard. Let's see how it does for the performance. Here we go. It's hard to believe that this truck weighs what it weighs. Like, this truck is heavy, but 500 horsepower is insane. And 1,200 pound-feet of torque? Yeah. It almost doesn't matter how heavy it is. It's a lot of power. And I really do think that Ford does hold back the boost for the first few hundred miles. But now, I've already set the fuel economy and I was with the 0 to 60. So now we kind of get to see, you know, how well it does. But 0 to 60 was, what was it, 8.77 seconds. Now, I think I pulled off of the quarter mile, so I'm not gonna, I don't know if I'll show it to you, but it says 16.53, but I think I'd already started slowing down anyways, so I wouldn't use that number. But all in all, this truck is definitely stiffer than the it is stiffer than the F350 dually. And a lot of people do say that they don't like the tires that come on the 450s. And I've towed with this truck before, and I could never put my finger on what it was, but I think it's these tires. I would definitely knock these off as soon as I got the truck and get something a little bit better. But I mean, listen, it's a HD, it's a dually, it's gonna be a little harsher. It has a solid front axle, but I mean, I could drive this all day long. And this truck is so quiet. That is the beauty of this pickup. Now let me go ahead and show you guys the RPM so you guys can see where we're running at right now, because that's gonna be the biggest deciding factor between F350 and 450. So here's why you buy the 450. You see where your RPMs are? We're only going about 70 miles an hour in 10th gear, and we're over 2,000 at 70. Now if I creep up to about 80, I don't know if I'll be able to get there all the way, but I mean, I'm still in 10th gear. Look how much power is in 10th gear. It's not even downshifting. That was only like maybe like 30-40% down. But yeah, I mean, you're almost about 2,400 RPMs, guys. But listen, if you're towing heavy, you need that lower gearing out back. Now, if you don't really need the lower gearing, the 350 dually is the way to go, because I believe you can get the 355 or the 410. So you have some options there with the diesel. And I think for most people, the 430 might be too low of a gear, because I mean, how many people are really towing over 20,000 pounds? I think that's when you really do need that, you know, lower gearing, because if you live in higher elevations, you see a 0 to 60, you do take a hit even with forced induction pickup. So if you're towing heavy, I think that this is the best truck. But here's the other thing you have to consider. The biggest issue with the 450 is this truck is heavy. Like, did you guys see the back end of this truck? I'll show it to you here if you haven't. This is a big rear end, and it's going to be a heavier braking system compared to the 350. You do have a better turning radius, so that front, you know, track is a little bit wider, it's a little bit heavier. Also, the tires are more robust on this truck. These are G-rated tires. These tires are heavier. The only problem with this truck is you cannot get anything higher than a 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating. Now, in my opinion, the silly government, because of the stupid emission stuff on these trucks, they should allow these class of trucks to go up to 14.8 because of the stupid emission stuff. Because all this crap adds weight to the truck. Now, it doesn't add 800 pounds, but it's probably a couple hundred pounds of crap that you don't really need on these trucks, not including the DEF. Now, if you include a DEF tank full, I mean, that could be 100 pounds by itself, so it could be over 300 pounds of emission stuff on this truck. So that being said, this truck should have around 5,500 pounds of payload, but it has under 5,000, which you'll see here in a second, because of the emissions. So my opinion is they need to change some of the regulations on this truck and make it to where it can have more payload, so you can stay within the limits towing a 25,000 pound trailer. Well, we're about to get off here. Let me switch cameras so you guys can see where we are for the midpoint and where we are for fuel economy. So exit 11. So far, wow, we're at 14.2. That is pretty good, actually. And that was doing about 75 miles an hour. Also, that was with the acceleration all the way up to about 80. I don't know where I dropped off at, but it was like around 80 miles an hour. We're gonna go back the opposite direction, and then I'll show you guys where we end off at. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, I am going to show you guys max recline again in this video, because I didn't really have enough time when I last did the video, because the customer was actually coming by to look at the truck, so I was just kind of rushing. So today, because the truck's available, I have a little bit more time. So here we go. So all you have to do is just push the seat down, and you'll see right here that bottom cushion does go up to give you more support. You kind of can see it going up right there. Sorry for the glare, but yeah, that cushion's pretty much up here. And look how far down the seat goes. You might even want to put this down too. And this flap goes up 3 clicks. So you got 1, 2, 3. And this is like your pillow basically for the seat. The light was really long, so I had to go around. But actually this worked out perfectly, because now I get to show off why you definitely should buy the 450. It's a little bit of cars coming, but let me go ahead and show you guys this U-turn on this truck. It's pretty amazing. By the way, the air conditioned seats, all that stuff works extremely well. So, you see this? This is insane. This is a tight turning radius, and this is why I would probably always skip the 350 dually. Like, that alone is amazing. And this is a big 8-foot large pickup, and you can do a U-turn almost like a car, almost. It's probably not as tight as a car, but it's very, very close. My Chevy 3500 dually has 37s on it. Now, I do have them aired down right now, and I would probably say that this truck feels about the same as that truck does at 33, 35 PSI in those tires. Now, when they were aired up to about 60, 62, this truck was actually more comfortable than my dually was. So with that being said, even though I have a lot more sidewall, you know, this truck is not that uncomfortable. I mean, the leaf suspension out back, it does mirror what you see on the 350s, even the single rear wheels. Now, the spring rate could be a little different. I'm not sure. I don't know how to even look something up like that. So, yeah, but the tires are stiffer, and I think that that's what's going to really hurt you. Now, do you have, let me see if you have, I don't know if you can see it. Does this show you your tire pressure? I can't remember if this is the truck that doesn't show that. I think this is the one that doesn't show the tire pressure. That's probably the negative about this truck, is it doesn't show that. But they do have gauges which show you like your engine coolant, your transmission temp, engine oil temperature, and battery voltage, and it doesn't stop there. It also shows you your turbo boost, engine braking, exhaust filter. Oh, by the way, we might as well turn on the exhaust because you know we have to try that out. So let's see where we are. I wonder if it feels a little bit stronger than, let me see. It could be a little bit stronger in this truck because you're running at a higher RPM. But I mean, the one thing about this truck is they did fix the exhaust brake. Like, it's consistent. Every time I let off the gas, it comes on automatically. So that's the beauty of this new truck. I mean, it's a really good truck. It has the lane keep assist. I can feel the steering wheel turning me back. You guys can probably see it. It's turning me back into the lane. And it does track well. These tires, that was the other thing. A lot of people say these tires don't track well on the roads. But I'm not really noticing that right now. But it's definitely a stiffer riding pickup. I think most women would not like this truck. But if you're towing a trailer, all that goes away because the suspension does get a little bit softer with the weight back there. And it's really a hard pickup to beat in the segment. I don't think Ram can really compete with this truck without really pointing out the obvious things. Now again, the price, and you may not ever get one because they don't make a lot of these and they're just hard to come by. So that's the only negatives. But we should be back to the dealership in about 5 minutes or so. I'll let you guys know where we end off at with fuel economy, and that will pretty much end the video. So here are all the numbers on the door. You have a gross axle weight rating up front at 6,000. The rear is 9,900 pounds. This is a detuned gross vehicle weight rating from the normal F450s. Normally it would be like 16.5, but because this is not a cabin chassis, it's 14K, it's just detuned. And all in, that's actually a pretty good payload capacity, 4,901 pounds. Just pull back into the dealership and we end off at 15.5. I was about 16 when I stopped at the light before I got back to the dealership, so it did drop a little bit. And the RPMs, obviously you don't really see a difference when you're idling because the 430, it normally changes the RPMs when you're driving. But here's something that I think you should consider if you are looking at a 450 or 350. I haven't done much research yet, but I have heard that these trucks could potentially increase your insurance rate compared to the F350. So for a lot of people, you know, hey, these are already expensive rigs. So if you don't want your insurance to go up, obviously your fuel cost is going to go up with this heavier truck. And, you know, even though these are highway tires, you're still going to get a little bit less fuel economy because of the fact that it has that 430 rear. So in my opinion, the F350 might suit some people a lot better. And yeah, I think that overall, if you're looking at these trucks, fuel economy should not be a factor, but for some people, they like to know what they're getting into, and that's why I do these videos. So hope you guys like it. Special shout out again to Larry H. Miller, Super Ford here in Salt Lake City. Be sure to reach out to Tim. Like I said, Ken's the other commercial guy. If you are thinking about buying a truck at some point, it's always a good idea to just go ahead and put an order in on a truck, because you don't know if you're gonna get it or not. And if it does come in, you have options. And right now, you might be able to get a discount at the dealership from what I've seen. I mean, hey, it never hurts to ask. Even if it's a 450, I always ask for a discount. I ask for a discount when I know they're gonna say no. And I still ask after they say no. So again, hope you guys liked the video. See you guys soon.